Mr. Chairman, I'd like to follow up on a couple of questions from my colleagues earlier. Dr. Woodcock, you weren't here, but one of my colleagues, Representative Meadows from North Carolina, was asking about the process of drug approval in the FDA, and I'd like to ask you something, or like for you to clarify something. It's my understanding that FDA can expedite a new drug application through the abbreviated new drug application to help with a drug shortage problem, if there is such a thing. But I understand right now that you're putting more emphasis on the approval and the quality standards, which we all applaud, but you can, in fact, approve a drug if indeed there is a drug shortage there, and that has been done before. There's been precedent with that. Now, let me ask you, you could address an issue of drug shortage with compounding, could you not? Yes or no?
We wouldn't overtly do that, but the compounders could potentially offer.
Dr. Woodcliff, you control the list of ingredients that they are allowed to compound, correct?
Yes.
So you could add one to that if there was a drug shortage. And in fact, you have done that before in the past. You've set precedent with that, correct?
No, I don't know about it.
Well, in 2000, if you will, in 2012, the FDA waived its authority of an enforcement action against a compounded version of a hormone cream. Yes, I see your staff nodding here. Okay. That's prescribed to lower the risk of women from premature birth when the approved version became too expensive. This could have helped us in this situation. This could have helped the American public in this situation.
The situation you refer to was enforcement discretion. Usually when a new drug is approved, then other versions are not supposed to be marketed. And,
but through compounding, we could have addressed this issue of the drug shortage because of a significant price increase. And that has been done before. There is precedent there. Dr. Woodcock, just one other thing. Through the omnibus that was recently passed by Congress, we instituted a rule on office use compounding, and I know that there was a language in the bill that directed the FDA to issue guidance on that. Can you give me an idea? Are you still working on that? Any idea when that'll be?
We are working on a set of guidances to implement the recent statutory changes, and I would hope that they would come out within this year in draft.
Okay, thank you for that. Another question that was asked by one of my colleagues from New Mexico, Ms. Resleff, and in fact, you just repeated it again. She asked you a question, and you stated that Turing is a research pharmaceutical company. How many drugs has Turing taken from research to development? How many drugs have you? Microphone.
We have 13 products in development right now. We are a new company. We're just
You're a new company, so you have had none, but you're calling yourself a research pharmaceutical company. I think it's a stretch to even call you a pharmaceutical company because I think it's a shell of a company. And I will tell you that when a company that calls themselves a research pharmaceutical company only puts in 5% of their profits back in research and development, I think that proves the point that they are indeed not one. And I know what you've said, that no, 60%. Yeah, when things went south, you increased it to 60% to increase your public relations, but before that, it was only 5%. So I beg to differ with you on that. Now, you said that your drug, Daraprim, was being distributed through specialty pharmacies. Any of those specialty pharmacies owned by PBMs? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Which brings us to the PBM problem, which is another problem, which is a great problem that we have in our country, and particularly in the medical field. Mr. Merritt, I want to ask you, over the past week or so, there's been much in the press about a problem between one of the largest health insurers and one of the largest PBMs in our country, that they cannot reach negotiations. They were trying to negotiate, and they cannot reach a deal in a $3 billion settlement. That they're trying to, if that's the case with one of the largest PBMs and one of the largest insurance companies, how do you expect a small pharmacy, a small independent pharmacy to stand a chance against a giant PBM when one of the largest insurance companies in the world can't even negotiate with you?
Well, on that particular issue, that's a dispute, a contract dispute between two companies, but I do know that pharmacies, independent pharmacies...
Can you imagine a contract dispute between a company that is one of the smallest in the United States and one of the giants, the PBMs?
But drugstores, independent drugstores, typically work with PSAOs that are parts of giant companies, and they negotiate with PBMs on behalf of independent drugstores.
Mr. Mayor, and I'm really concerned about the current marketplace because I believe it creates some perverse incentives for PBMs to shut out independent pharmacies at the expense of the American public. And I say that because as competition decreases, prices are going to increase. That's what we're finding now. It's one of the worst things about the Affordable Care Act. Look how many health insurance companies we have left, only 3 or 4. That's what's going to lead us to destroy what I believe is the greatest healthcare system in the world. Now, Mr. Merritt, I know that you're not specifically the problem. I know that you represent an association. But I can tell you, we have to have transparency in the PBM world. Now, Representative Collins just introduced a letter for the record, and I can tell you he's got a bill that deals with transparency. Mr. Chairman, I hope this is something that we will continue to deal with in this committee. It's vitally important that we do. And again, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you, the ranking member, and all your staff for this hearing today.
I thank the gentleman. Well, now